Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ACW Newscast. This is Newscast number 52. I'm Hakeem Johnson, your ACW commentator as always, and today we're going to go over some ACW news. We're going to talk about some ACW High Voltage. We're going to talk about the upcoming episodes for Excel and Impulse. We're going to also talk about some other news that broke out earlier this week. Also, we're going to talk about the current situation in terms of hashtag Gamergate. If you're a true gamer, you should really know what that is, and if you don't, you should really be informed about what it is and what it means for you as a gamer and the gaming industry in general. Also, we're going to go over your questions and comments. I know you guys got a lot of questions and comments you guys are going to ask me, and I will go over them. So, let's get started already. We're going to start with ACW news. Now, if you haven't noticed already, or if you're just beginning to notice, earlier this week, ACW's Blip TV account was removed. And I didn't even really find out about this until a fan let me know about it earlier in the morning this week, earlier in the week. And am I a little irritated? Yeah, and the reason why I'm irritated is because here's the thing. I understand why my account was removed. Obviously, Blip TV wants to move into a direction where they want their original series and their webisodes that generate money for them, and they want all of that to be sort of their centerpiece of the website. They essentially want to be an independent version of Hulu or Netflix or Amazon Video on the web. I don't think it's going to work because, again, those companies I just mentioned pretty much have that stronghold on that type of niche that I don't see a Blip TV really gaining anything from it. But that being said, I can understand why they're doing it, and any other video or any other account that doesn't fit into that mold was going to be taken down. I understand. I get it. I'm not the nostalgia critic. I'm not Red vs. Blue. I'm not any of those type of series, so I understand that ACW wasn't going to get the luxury of staying on Blip TV any longer. That's why I was trying to save as much episodes as I can. Obviously, Blip TV didn't even let me know about them removing my account. Here's the thing. You could have let me know, given me a 24 to 48 hour notice that you were going to remove my account. That way I could have been able to get all the videos that I could possibly can and bring them to my laptop. But they pretty much did it abruptly. So it's whatever. So I'm obviously I'm irritated, but nothing to the point where I'm going to say, well, that's it, guys. No more ACW. I quit. This is just too much. No, I'm not going to do that. I came back this year, and I'm not going to just give up because of this little mishap. Now, the question being is, where are we going to see ACW mega events now at this point? Well, I do have a Daily Motion account, but that's pretty much a backup just in case something else happens to, say, my YouTube account or Vio account. That said, though, however, I actually am using this video service called uWatch. It's uwatch.org, and I'm uploading my mega events there for the time being. I want to see how it works out. I want to see how I can implement that service onto my mega events and how it's going to pan out with ACW. For now, right now, it's working. It's working for now. The question being is for how long, however. That's the thing. So if it doesn't work, then I will just have to use Daily Motion and start splitting my mega events into pieces. Kind of not a fan of that. Like if I'm able to upload a whole show onto an account, that's kind of what I like to do. But if I have to split up parts of a mega event to upload it onto the site, that's fine too, I guess. It's just going to be a little bit more work, but not a lot. I'm really trying not to use YouTube really for mega events, because I come from a golden era in CAW where it was you do the shows on YouTube and then your mega events or click previews back then would be on, say, FileFront or Mega Upload or Rapid Share or a forum like Call Underground, something like that. It just wouldn't be on YouTube. So I'm kind of trying to fight against the grain here, but it may come to the point where it's going to end up being on YouTube anyways. I'm not making any promises, but it could end up leading to that route. So in terms of that whole situation, I pretty much got everything covered and under control for the time being. So, say for ACW No Boundaries coming up in about 3 weeks, you'll see it on UWatch and VO for the most part, and I might just do it on Daily Motion as well, just to be safe. So, there's that. Apparently you guys enjoyed Excel and Impulse. You got Excel with Zuko now as the Excel champion, stemming off his win from Hall Glory at High Voltage about last week. You got Impulse now. You got the return of Ryu. You got Tenchi Masaki as the general manager of Impulse for a temporary time, as Goku temporarily releases duties to fight Gohan, the Impulse champion, in a non-title match at No Boundaries in 3 weeks. So a lot of stuff is happening with ACW, and the scary part is you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. But again, I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, because that just would not be hard for you guys. But yeah. So a lot of things. We're still not done with 2014. Animania 3 is coming very closely. We're about 3 or 4 months away from Animania 3. And I've got a lot of big things that I have planned for that event. Obviously, we have Animania 3 week on that, during that, whole fiasco with Animania 3 that's going to go down. It's going to be Animania 3 week, as you all know. On Monday, we're going to have an hour-long ACW newscast. That is a pre-Animania 3 edition. And I'm thinking about doing a live newscast, like using Google Plus, using the Google Plus live stream. Not seeing my face or anything, but a Google Plus live stream of me on the air for about an hour, and you guys can just post in your questions live as we're doing it, or else I'm going to ramble. So it could be a really good thing or a really bad thing. So I'm planning on doing something like that probably on Monday. Tuesday will be the 2014 ACW Hall of Fame, honoring the 2008 Hall of Fame class. If you guys don't know who they were, it was Sonic the Hedgehog, Usagi Tsukino, who is also obviously Sailor Moon, Piccolo from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT, and Speed Racer, one of the original anime characters that transitioned into the Western part of the world to make anime what it is today. So those 4 will be inducted this year, and I do have the 4 that will be inducting them. You'll get more information on that as we get closer to the date. And then on Wednesday of that week, it'll be the ACW special event, Super Smash Bros. Brawl for All special. And it's going to hopefully celebrate and coincide with the release of Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. Now, I'll talk about the 3DS one as we get closer, but we will be doing an exhibition match. As you guys know, it will be Donkey Kong vs. Solid Snake in the exhibition match to celebrate and commemorate the release of Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS on the first week of October. Now, I'll give you more information on that as we get close to that date as well. So yeah, we will be doing a Super Smash Bros. Special during that week. Thursday, it'll be an hour, around hour and a half long ACW Animania 3 pre-show. So we're going to get you hyped up for another hour and a half before the big event. Then on Friday of that week is the actual event, Animania 3, a 4-hour mega event. 4-hour mega event, which is looking to be a very, very anticipated mega event. That'll be held in Madison Square Garden, New York City. And then on Saturday, obviously, it'll be another ACW newscast that I might do live, where you guys can also post your questions and comments coming off from Animania 3 and the hiatus that I'll be taking until I return next year. And we'll talk about that stuff. So there's your Animania 3 week preparations. I'll let you know about more information about each and every event of that week as we get close to that week itself. So there you go with all of that. And also you got the Royale Rumble coming up on October 24th. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the previous Royale Rumble mega events that I did in 2007 and 2008. Sorry, that was in my old account, and my old account unfortunately no longer exists. But the 2014 Royale Rumble will certainly look to be a very anticipated event. A lot of surprises that I have in store for that mega event as we get close to it. So, there's your update with ACW so far, and we'll talk more about that next week on the newscast. But I want to get into an issue real quick now about something that is very passionate with me and something that it should be passionate towards you as well. I love video games. I've played video games for as long as I can remember. My first video games console that I had was the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. I was born in 1991, and I can remember I was playing video games as small as like 2 to 3 years old. Now, granted, I didn't know how to play them, but I would just pick up a controller and press buttons and just be amazed by the graphics at that time. I had Tetris, I had Dr. Mario. I obviously had Super Mario Bros. 3, the best of the series. I had a Zelda. I had a lot of NES games, and then that's when I started having the Sega Genesis, and then that's when the Nintendo 64 came in, and then I had the PlayStation 2, GameCube. I'm just a fan of video games. Like, I love video games. I've played them for all my life. But now I'm 23 years old, and I'm growing up to find now that the industry is changing, and not for the better. Now, for any gamers that are listening to this newscast here tonight, there is a certain controversy, if you will, going on in the gaming industry. And it's being dubbed as #Gamergate. Now, I'm not gonna go fully into the details about it, because if you've watched videos from, say, like the Internet Aristocrat or Thunderfoot or Sargon and Akkad, sorry if I mispronounced it wrong, or those type of videos, you kind of already get the gist of what it is in full detail. But essentially, it's about a independent video game developer. Let me start over. It's about a game developer who goes by the name of Zoe Quinn, who is a known feminist, and she was creating this game called Depression Quest that is pretty much a click and scroll game in a way on the effects and pressures of depression or whatever. And despite this, and it was posted on Steam, and despite a lot of critics on Steam saying this game sucks, this game is not good, this game doesn't deserve all the praise it's getting, you've got all of a sudden these game websites and these game quote-unquote journalists, and I'm using that very, very loosely, promoting this game as truly the best game they've seen this year. And even though it was suspicious, there wasn't anything you could really dig deep into until a post on Tumblr called, I believe, the Zopost at .tumblr.com, pretty much was about Zoe's ex by the name of Aaron, pretty much going on a manifesto tirade, and pretty much posting and revealing a lot of details about Zoe Quinn and her relationship with certain game journalists. Basically, Zoe had sex with 5 guys. I know, insert burgers and fry joke here, but honestly, she had sex with 5 guys, and 5 of those guys are either game journalists or game developers that were there so they can pimp her out of her game and put her game out in the forefront. So using sex for favors, to quote-unquote steal from Internet Aristocrat, using sex for favors to promote your game, at the same time, for them, they get clicks and revenue for their article and their website. Now, I don't really care that she really just like banged 5 guys or more. I really don't care. That's really not even the point of it at this point. The point of it is that if we're gonna have game journalists be the be-all end-all of everything that represents gamers, there has to be ethics involved. They have to have ethical integrity into their journalism. And when I hear the fact that gaming journalists are fraternizing, if you will, with game developers and giving them publicity for it, and that creates a conflict of interest. And I don't like that, because now it's getting to the point where you can do that type of stuff, and game journalists will shut down gamers, will vilify gamers as Nazis and misogynists and rapists and murderers. And I'm not BSing you. You can go online right now and search all these gaming articles from these game quote-unquote journalists saying all this stuff about gamers. And that's offensive to me. That offends me. Now, granted, the gamer girl kind of stereotype, and we all know what we're talking about when we say that. I don't know why people kind of misrepresent and misinterpret what it really means. We don't like when certain people, in this case, girls, let's be honest, we don't like it when certain girls try to be a part of the gaming world by holding, by trying to play video games even though they don't care about video games, or they don't know the first thing about video games, or try to dress sexy on a character they have no information about. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've watched Family Guy, it's kind of like that clip with the male soldiers in the medieval times, and there's Joan of Arc coming in and saying, "Hey guys, I like to burp too, I like to watch porn, and I like to play Call of Duty because I'm not like those other females." It's kind of like that, in my opinion. So yeah, for me personally, I don't care if you're a girl or a boy. I don't care if you're a man or a woman when you play games. I want to be playing a competitive gamer. And if that's a girl that kicks my ass in the game, that's fine. If that's a dude that kicks my ass in the game, that's fine too. But just because you're a girl doesn't mean, one, I'm going to be easy on you, and two, you're going to not face any shit talking that I would do on anybody else. And that's another thing. People, some of these feminists and social justice warriors want to come in here and say all this abuse, these verbal abuses, these internet assaults on people that want to play games is just so unruly. Video games and the gaming industry is a very competitive and very intense world that you're dealing with. And if you're not ready for that type of thing, then maybe video games are just not for you. There is going to be shit talking involved, because trust me, I get involved in that too. If say we're playing Madden or WWE, or playing some game that involves very high competitive skill, there will be shit talking involved. That's just the way it is. And I don't care if it's a girl, I'm going to talk shit about you. If you're a girl, I'm going to talk shit about you. If you're a guy, I'm going to talk shit about you. Period. It doesn't have anything to do with your gender. It's just the fact that I'm really trying to beat your ass in this game. So, you got the ilk like Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian and, just awful websites like Kotaku and Polygon and Rock Paper Shotgun, just defending Zoe Quinn, making her look like this upstanding citizen of virtue, as if anything she did wasn't wrong at all, as if there's no controversy at all. You know what I find ironic? The people 10 to 15 years ago that attacked and got at Jack Thompson, who decried that video games causes violence, and rightfully so, the same gamers and game journalists that got at Jack Thompson in his throat for what he was spewing out every time there was a tragedy in this society and connected it to video games, are now the same video game journalists and gamers now defending the same tactics that these feminists are doing, that Jack Thompson and his ilk were doing those years ago. That's what makes me offended. Now I'm seeing Anita Sarkeesian getting a gamer award? A gamer award? I'm seeing Zoe Quinn being defended by the likes of Phil Fish and all these other developers that are not really caring about what she is or her game. They're only saying it just to feel important. They're only saying it just to be included. And to be quite honest with you, they're only doing it just to get some pussy. There. I said it. That's really all it is, in my opinion. They're only saying that all these social justice warriors and their white knighters are just saying this to defend her just because they can get some too. And that's simping if I've ever heard of it. So, this whole situation's not going to go away. I will be in the right side of history here. I'm gonna stand by the gamers, and I'm gonna talk to you, ACW fans, who happen to be true gamers, that happen to love video games, that happen to hold gaming and video games in the nearest and dearest of your heart. Stand up, man. Stand up to this type of vitriol and this type of, shaming onto us, the gamers. They are calling us Nazis. They are calling us misogynists. They're calling us racist, sexist, any vile word they can get from the dictionary. That is what they're calling us right now, because we want to expose what the video game journalism industry are trying to do to the very foundation of what we love. Just because we're exposing it now, they're calling us all these names from every direction. We can stop them right here and right now. But if you're just going to be one of these people that say, oh, it's not that big of a deal, I mean, why are you getting so upset about it? I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't see any problem with it. I just want to play video games. You're part of the problem. There is no middle ground when it comes to this. There is none whatsoever with this middle ground. Either you're going to fight for what you truly believe in terms of video games and the gaming industry as a whole, or you're going to be a part of the that are going to tell you what games you should play, tell you what games you should like, and what words are offensive and what games you shouldn't play because they don't represent their society, their agenda, their prerogative, their propaganda. It's time to step up, guys. It is time to step up. I love video games, and I will be damned to have social justice warriors and feminists, at least modern feminists, and all these white knighters and all these male rights activists. I will be damned to have them come into our hobby, come into our type of field. The same people that couldn't give two shits about video games and gaming when it was back in the day. It was us that loved video games. It was us that played video games almost for hours on end, and we were called nerds, we were called losers, we were called loners for it. But now, because these hipster fags, and yes, I said it, because these hipsters and all their ilk want to come in and try to be a part of something and try to put their hipster ideals into now our gaming industry. Now they want to change the discussion. Now they want to move the goalposts, and I will be damned if I'm going to stand here and not do a damn thing about it. So if you want to stand up for video games, if you want to stand up for the gaming industry, then you cannot allow their ilk to win. You cannot allow them to push you back and silence you, or else you've already lost. And I will speak about this issue for as long as I can here on the newscast. If there's any new developments, if there's anything that I need to speak about it, I'm going to speak on it. Because this is very important. This is very, very important. Because it's now getting to the point where now people are saying there should be a gay character in the Mario Kart series, or there should be, Chun-Li should be able to be the lead character, or that Samus Aran doesn't really count, even though she would pretty much discredit every feminist's argument about not enough women in video games. I can go on an hour-long tirade, but I'm not going to do that. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is this. If you are a true gamer, if you love video games to the core, if you are somebody that was made fun of so many times about you and your love for your video games, and you're seeing this happen right now and you're not doing anything about it, you should be ashamed of yourself. Stand up for yourself. Stand up to this bullcrap that's being shoved down people's throats. And don't let the gaming quote-unquote journalists and all these gamers trying to be white knighters to get their own benefits, even though they're just as stupid as they are, don't let them change the discussion. Don't let them change the narrative, or else we're already lost. I'm going to stand by the right side of history. Will you, is the question. Alright, off my soapbox there. So, there you go. That's what my thoughts on #Gamergate was. And I will also put links on the description about certain videos where you can watch the whole fiasco of Gamergate and what's going on really with that whole ordeal. I'll post links on the description for you guys to watch. But in any event, we're going to get now to our questions and comments here. And got a sizable amount here, and I'm going to read all of them. Joshua Howell asked me a couple questions here. You forgot Layla in your previous newscast when you were talking about Sexy Divas, and yes, I did. But then again, it's like, can you really blame me because they don't even really show Layla that much anymore to the point where I even forget her, which is a damn shame. Props to Layla, though, for exposing Rosa Mendez's ass, though. That was pretty awesome. I wish it had been Layla's, but I'll take what I can get. But yeah, Layla's obviously one of them. She's probably it's either her. There's like I've got a top 5 of divas in the WWE at least that I find sexy, and I think it's in no particular order. I think it's Layla, Stephanie McMahon, Naomi, Natalya, and no, it's not Paige or AJ. So no, and it's not the Bellas either. I want to be careful with this because I might make a mistake. See, Stephanie, Naomi, Layla, Natalya. See, back in the day, there used to be so many sexy divas. You can choose a lot of them, and now it's just like maybe 3 or 4. Damn. Summer Rae's a butterface. Even Marie's average too, at like the Bellas, in my opinion. Cameron's also average too, in my opinion. Huh. You know what? I'll go on the NXT side and I'll just say Bayley. There you go. There you go. So Stephanie, Layla, Naomi, Natalya, Bayley. Yeah, that's fine. Anyways, back to your question though. Anyway, to the question, have you gotten the chance to look at any GWA shows? If you haven't, don't worry about it. If I know you're not a big E-Fed guy, but I'm interested to hear what you think about it. I'll be honest with you, I haven't checked on any GWA shows lately. Kind of been busy. About to get back to school. Got a job. Got people to take care of. Got ACW to do. And just got other things that I do that I don't have enough time to really check on everything on the internet. But from what I see, it's, you know, I don't have anything against E-Feds. I really don't. I mean, back in the day, I used to actually post. I used to do like Be the Booker shows. Like I would do my own version of the WWE. Like it would be WWE in 2005, and it would be in your own perspective. And I would just type certain shows and how I would do certain things different than what they were doing at that time. You know, so I was doing stuff like that back in the day. So I don't have any problems with E-Feds to a certain degree. There's certain E-Feds that kind of miss the ball or take it a little bit too far, but otherwise I don't have a problem with E-Feds. And from what I've seen from GWA, it's pretty good from what I can tell. I mean, all I would tell you is just to be creative. You know, have fun doing what you're doing. Be creative in what you're doing. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something that you know you can do, and probably better than them. So that's what I would say. He also asked, what are your thoughts on Brock Lesnar's new contract? It basically states that the WWE can book him more often. Does it improve his chances of beating Cena? Yeah. Yeah. It does, because the whole complaint about him possibly losing to Cena at Night of Champions was because Brock Lesnar wasn't going to be around for a certain amount of dates. Now that this new contract has been released saying that Brock Lesnar now is available for more dates, that way they can be more flexible with him, he can be more of a presence as a world champion, it does make the case that he can beat Cena now. Because let's face it, one, Cena doesn't need the title. He didn't even need the title last time he held it. And two, Brock Lesnar right now is the more interesting character to go forward with as your WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Now, here's the problem, however, you gotta take into account, though. Here's the problem. Where does Lesnar go from here after Cena? If he does beat Cena and retains the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, where does he go from here? There's really no other person right now built up. And I know people are going to say Roman Reigns, but I will get to that later. But there's really nobody else built up at this current time in the active roster that can legitimately, incredibly take on Brock Lesnar for the title. I mean, Dean Ambrose is not even on television right now, and he wouldn't be the guy either. Daniel Bryan is injured. He's getting multiple surgeries. He might not even be back by this year. And even then, he wouldn't be somebody that could really beat Brock Lesnar. Seth Rollins is Mr. Money in the Bank. But with the way he's being kind of turned into this chicken shit heel, he's unbelievable in terms of him facing Lesnar. Bray Wyatt, he's been damaged so much by the Cena and Jericho feud that no one buys him as a WWE champion. And then you can maybe bring someone like Batista, but this is the same Batista that lost to Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, then lost to the Shield 2 months after that. So would Batista really be the credible person? I don't know what you do here with Brock Lesnar. I really don't know what you do. Maybe you've created too much of a monster. And this is the effect of what happens when you don't create enough stars to take over a spot where Cena previously had it. This is what you kind of have the problem with when you this is kind of the problem you have. It's just Cena and everybody else is below him. Sorry. And Roman Reigns, at this current time, to me, is not ready for a shot at the title, much less so winning it. I just don't see it. I just don't find him to be the guy right now. So the WWE is going to have a tough slope to climb, if you will, with Lesnar as champion. It's good that he has more dates now because he's going to be more visible. You'll get to see him more often. You won't have to have Heyman cut promos for him because it'll get old if he did. But what would be the point now if you don't have anyone to face him after Cena? That's something to think about. Last thought and question. I know you don't like 4Kids, and I can understand why. 4Kids ruined some great anime, but for some reason I really liked the One Piece rap they did. I don't know why. Anyways, the question, what version of We Are, the original One Piece theme, did the Straw Hat Crew use? They used for the second question, the We Are, they used it for, it was the original Japanese theme. It wasn't the English one from 4Kids that was the original One Piece theme. It was the Japanese version. And I kind of altered the audio of that theme to make it a little bit more slowed down, kind of a little bit chopped and screwed, I guess, if you will, maybe. But yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And I don't. Well, this is not really an issue anymore because 4Kids no longer exist. It went bankrupt in 2012, thank goodness. But I don't like 4Kids just because it forces the narrative that America can do something better than an original art form. It's the same reason. In a way, it's the same reason why I don't like American soccer. It's the reason why I don't like MLS, and why I prefer English Premier or Spanish Premier or international soccer. Because it's like America is the home of baseball and American football. Period. And it feels like certain corporations and owners wanted to take soccer and instead of really organically grow it, just try to buy it off and make it their own franchise to make it the best soccer in all the world, when everybody knows that the UK, parts of Africa, and parts of Central and South America will always dominate and rule soccer, or football, if you will. Period. So, that's why I don't like MLS, and in a way, that's kind of where I see it with 4Kids. 4Kids was trying to be, in a way, trying to think they can dub original Japanese anime and try to make it better than the original format, the original source, and that just wasn't the case. Now, they got some right. The first few seasons of Pokemon, obviously. I think the first, second season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Ultimate Muscle was also a big surprise as well. They really did Kinnikuman and Nisai good justice with Ultimate Muscle, but other than that, they've been more missed than hit. Obviously, One Piece, their history with that is pretty much documented. Shaman King I thought was a crappy dub as well. Didn't really like the Kirby dub. Sonic X kind of had its hit and misses. What else? What else was it? Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I don't like 4Kids, and I'm glad it's gone. I think it's everything that's wrong with the anime community today. Now, granted, there are some weeaboos out there with this ridiculous notion that every time you bring up the fact that anime is a cartoon, they want to really cut your head off. I don't know if they mean literally or figuratively. You can't really tell at times with these guys, but they always want to get their panties in a bunch, and they always want to, get mad at the fact that anime is a cartoon. In my opinion, anime is a cartoon. Period. If you go to Japan, most Japanese people, most Japanese animators say that anime is a cartoon. Like if they watched a Western animation from America, they would call it an anime as well. It's just this notion that everything in Japan is great, even though the unemployment, I think, is around 30% in Japan, and their crime is pretty notorious there, especially with the Yakuza. It's not a really good place to live at. Just because you love anime doesn't mean you should really move there. So let's calm down there. Let's pump the brakes there a little bit. So yeah, and I'm gonna get into that more on a future newscast about the whole anime is a cartoon, anime isn't a cartoon debate, because the level of denial and the level of extreme weeabooism that I see on this argument is damn near pathetic and almost embarrassing as an anime fan. I think a lot of level-headed people will understand that anime is a cartoon, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the people that say that anime is for mature audiences, yes, because Hamtaro was for mature audiences. Yes, Tokyo Mew Mew or whatever, Mew Mew Power, whatever that was for mature audiences. I mean, forget the fact that Gargoyles and Teen Titans and the Batman, Superman animated series in the 90s, they weren't for mature, they were for children, right? I will get into that one day. I will get into that argument whole thing on a future newscast, because that's something that really irritates me. But yeah. Darian Rose actually asked me 30 questions here, and I'll get to Gary Connor afterwards. Number one, who from WWE TV would you want one of the ACW superstars to face in a dream match? It's funny. Let's see. CM Punk from WWE TV can face. I think CM Punk and Rock Lee would be an interesting match. Very similar but different. Another person I would pick. Let's see. You got Miz and Joe Higashi, maybe? They're both pricks. But Joe Higashi gets S done, though, so... And also, maybe I would like to see Orton, Rollins, and Triple H as the Authority face the same regime. Yeah. Orton, Rollins, and Triple H face Broly, Vegeta, and Gohan. And see how that goes down. So yeah, that'd be an interesting match. Yeah. Just hope that the same regime's power doesn't go over 9,000 hours. So, what do you think of the match cards for Night of Champions so far, and what are your predictions? From going on memory alone right now, from what I can tell right now, the current match card is what I'm going to say right now. I think for the United States Championship, it's Cesaro facing the United States Champion Sheamus. Who cares, because Cesaro doesn't really mean anything now. He didn't really mean much when he was with Paul Heyman. He really doesn't mean much now without Paul Heyman. Cesaro has now become another bland character with no direction, and was only shoehorned into this match so Sheamus can have somebody to face for the United States title, because it's Night of Champions. So, Sheamus will retain the title, he will continue to do nothing with the United States title, and Cesaro will continue to be directionless. And then for the Intercontinental title, you'll have Dolph Ziggler, the Intercontinental Champion, face The Miz. And again, this goes back to SummerSlam and why I feel like The Miz should retain. Because The Miz is a more interesting character right now than Dolph Ziggler. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Dolph Ziggler right now as Intercontinental Champion is boring as all hell. And The Miz at least has a character, and a new fresh character actually, where him retaining the title at SummerSlam could have led to this rubber match where Dolph Ziggler actually finally got the win over The Miz, and even then, you could have still continued the feud at the next pay-per-view event, which I think it's Hell in a Cell, I think, whatever. So, again, this is like easy, simple booking you could have done for The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, but no, you decided to just give The Miz a month title reign as Intercontinental Champion when his character was just starting to get into motion. You give it to Dolph Ziggler, who never does anything with the mid-card title, and is boring as hell now. And now you got a match where if Miz wins the title back, it makes the SummerSlam match pointless, and it makes Dolph Ziggler's title reign pointless again, like every other Intercontinental title reign he's had. So, Dolph Ziggler will retain, but who cares, really? And then I think for the Divas title, it's Paige defending the title against AJ Lee and Nikki Bella. Here's where you can see the WWE telling you that they completely screwed the pooch on this Bella feud. Not that it wasn't going to be good to begin with, but still, this is how you can tell. After SummerSlam with the heel turn with Nikki Bella, they don't even put the Bellas in main event slots or even at the 1 hour or 2 hour segments anymore. They put them in the middle of the show now because they know the Bellas cannot carry a feud to save their life. And that's why they had to bring in AJ and Paige. Because heaven forbid AJ and Paige do their own thing for the title and actually can be more interesting than the Bellas feud comparatively. Now they have to bring them into this mess because they know both Bellas, even though they, I guess, slightly improved, can't really carry a feud, much more so a match. So they got to bring the workhorses in Paige and AJ to carry Nikki Bella and essentially carry this feud. So now Paige is going to look like a placeholder, and she's your Divas champion. AJ looks like an inferior superstar, especially now since Stephanie McMahon pretty much told her that she was. Good job, Steph. And now you got the Bellas with their horrible acting and their poor time management. It's a cluster of many Fs with this match and this feud. Paige will win the title, hopefully, for their sake. Don't give it to AJ because AJ just lost it just to drop it back to Paige at SummerSlam. And then don't give it to Nikki Bella because, one, I really don't feel like she deserves it, at least at this point. And two, it's only for Total Divas. And three, that means this Bella feud is going to continue. Just have Paige win the title and get AJ and Paige the hell away from the Bellas as soon as possible. I think also the answer was Rusev and Mark Henry. I think that Rusev should win this match so they can have a rubber match at Hell in a Cell, where I think Mark Henry should actually get the win there, and maybe develop more character development, and give more character development to Rusev and Lana, and how they would have to overcome adversity in their own mind. So I don't know, but Rusev should win there, and then obviously, and I can't stress this match enough. This is Brock Lesnar defending the title, the WWE World Heavyweight title, against John Cena for a second time in 2 months. And again, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. It's like heads and tails on a shit coin. If John Cena wins the title here, then he ties with Ric Flair, and they will make the point that he's the greatest superstar of all time, which is total and utter bull crap, and it's just going to give Cena another meaningless title reign, and you might as well have him hold the title till WrestleMania 31 if you're going to do that. But then if Brock Lesnar retains the title here, who else can really face Brock Lesnar at this point? Who can go after Brock Lesnar after Cena, like I stated earlier in the newscast? You really don't have anybody. So, I'll take the lesser of two evils and choose Brock Lesnar, but ultimately it's just a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. So, those are my predictions for Night of Champions. Not really interested with this pay-per-view, to be honest with you. I may watch just if I'm bored, but I'm not looking forward to it, I guess. Let me see here. Okay, here's his third question. With the ACW Royal Rumble coming soon, what are your predictions to be for who would win the Impulse and Excel Rumbles? Well, I can't really give you predictions because that would be kind of a spoiler, and you guys will look way into it, but it's interesting. A lot of people have, from the Excel side, people have said Hiei and Zabuza, Rock Lee, Aang, even Icky, for some reason. And for the Impulse side, people have said, well, then again, you don't know the Impulse side yet. I haven't revealed the Impulse Rumble participants yet. And you probably won't get to know those participants until after No Boundaries. So, can't really make predictions on that till then. So, there you go. Gary Connell Jr. asked me 3 questions as well. When will you think New Japan Pro Wrestling will finally reach out to America by getting experienced American commentators to commentate for the American audience? I say by next year. I think they had plans. I believe they said they had plans to have an American commentary version of New Japan Wrestling. They would just have to look for the TV deal and the network distribution and certain merchandise licensing, yeah, and other stuff like that. But New Japan is still the #1 Japanese wrestling promotion in the world, so it's not like they can't do it. I just feel like maybe people are overestimating their reach here, because in America, the fact of the matter is, and I remember this being a signature on a form one time. It said that in Japan, it's a sport. In Mexico, it's a religion. In Canada, I think it said in Japan it was a sport. Mexico, it was a religion. Canada, it's a tradition. There you go. In Canada, it's a tradition, and in America, it's a joke. I somewhat agree with that, but still, New Japan Pro Wrestling getting that reach won't come immediately, in my opinion. And it won't really compete with the WWE either. The WWE kind of has a stronghold with the American audience in terms of pro wrestling, unfortunately. So, but I do like to see new companies try to do new things to create some sort of competition, because I do believe that competition in any facet of life makes everybody better and everything better. So, we'll see how that turns out. Second question, what are your thoughts about the VMAs? Only watch the first performance and the rest is meh. I don't watch award shows anymore. I just don't. Unless for an exception. Unless there's an exception, unless there's for a specific purpose, I don't watch award shows anymore. I don't. That includes the Golden Globes, that includes the Emmys, that includes the Grammys, that includes the Tonys, the Oscars, the VMAs, the BET Awards, BET Hip Hop Awards, MTV Awards, VH1 Awards, People's Choice Awards, Teen Choice Awards, Kids Choice Awards. It doesn't really matter to me, because at the end of the day, it's no longer a talent show with these awards. It's a popularity contest. Okay? And if you really don't believe me, all we have to do is go back to the Grammys last year. The Grammys this year, with Kendrick and Macklemore and that whole, Kendrick Lamar and Macklemore, that whole debacle. But yeah, I heard what happened at the VMAs, or at least the interesting parts. I heard Beyonce dominated. She had the word feminist behind her, which I think is total crap. And people need to understand this right now. I don't think Beyonce's a feminist. She's only using the word to make money off the name. And all these stupid women, and some men as well, honestly, are buying into the bull. I think Beyonce is a smart businesswoman and saw that the feminist movement could be made money off of, obviously, thanks to the likes of Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn. Beyonce saw it, and she's making everybody look like suckers, pretty much. So, I don't buy that, but otherwise, Beyonce was being said to have a great performance. I don't doubt that. Beyonce is probably one of the best live performers in the world today. Other than that, I didn't really care much about the VMAs. I just didn't care, really. I don't watch that crap. I really don't. Third and last question. What did you think about Vince Russo's letter to WWE? I agreed somewhat with it, although I feel like Vince Russo, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, typical Vince Russo hater. I don't give a crap what you say. I think for some of the reasons why the business is what it is today, and in a bad way, does relate to Vince Russo and his ilk and his type of booking and creative mind. I think Vince Russo has been a cancer with pro wrestling for so long. He essentially made WCW even worse. He didn't kill it, but he essentially made WCW as more awful as it already had become. He is doing so much internal damage that he is costing TNA the potential chance to even survive by next year. WWE felt like he was a cancer and they cut him off immediately. Hopefully Jeff Jarrett doesn't bring him in for his Global Force Wrestling, or else it's doomed from the start, in my opinion. But essentially, I did agree with him that the likes of the Billy storyline and just certain characters are just so god-awful and are just so draconian and just so out of touch. But then again, this is coming from also an out-of-touch writer and Vince Russo himself, so kind of the pot calling the kettle black. Yeah. Let's see. Damn, I got a lot more, and I'm almost in an hour. Okay, I'm gonna go quick here. Matty Dangerously asked me two questions. What are your thoughts on Kurumi Tokisaki's debut in UCCW? I thought it was interesting. I mean, I've seen it coming. I pretty much saw it coming. That, she would be coming in. It's gonna be interesting to see what she does, So, I'm looking forward to it. I thought it was pretty good. No harm, no foul. What is your thoughts about the Divas Championship match at the Night of Champions? I already answered that question. And number 3, which team should you be concerned right now? Your Denver Broncos, since Wes Walker got suspended for 4 games, or the Cleveland Browns, since Manziel is being cocky and they lost Josh Gordon? If we're comparing to those 2 teams, I'd say the Cleveland Browns, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Broncos fan, obviously, but because I think despite the Denver Broncos' aging defense and the fact that Peyton Manning tends to overthink his playmaking, I've always had that criticism with him for years, and the fact that he now lost Wes Walker for at least 4 games at the start of the season, it's going to be a rocky road, no pun intended, for the Denver Broncos. But with the Cleveland Browns, Manziel is not even going to be starting, which is probably good in its own way because he can learn. And at the same time, they lost Josh Gordon, who could have been a really good asset for their team. And a lot of the hopes that the Cleveland Browns could get better are probably going to be shut down here now with those 2 main reasons. So I'd be more worried for the Cleveland Browns. So Quincy Brown asked me, let's see, 2 questions? Yeah, 3 questions, sorry. I have ideas for you. How about taking Impulse and Excel on a world tour? I am thinking about doing something like that. Again, I like to be different and creative when it's positively for the benefit of everybody. So I might do a world tour one day. Yeah. Would you like to host an Animania in London, Hollywood, China, or Germany? I kind of already did it in Hollywood on the first Animania. It was in Los Angeles, California, the Staples Center. It was the very first Animania in 2007. In terms of an international Animania, yeah, I might do something like that. I don't know if it'd be China, because, China and their whole human rights issues and censorship probably wouldn't really benefit ACW if no one from China can see it, since I think YouTube and Google is blocked anyways. But something like Germany or in the UK, or maybe somewhere in South America, maybe down under in Australia, some part of South Africa. I don't know. I have a lot of options. We'll just have to find out. And then his third question, will there be an Hall of Fame after or before Animania 3? And I already answered that question. There will be an ACW Hall of Fame this year before Animania 3 on Tuesday of that week. That'll honor the 2008 Hall of Fame class with Sonic the Hedgehog, Sailor Moon, Piccolo, and Speed Racer. So, there you go. Joey Sharuba asks me, after SummerSlam, are you one of the people that have given up on Nastista, Roman Reigns? Because I'll admit right now, Orton carried that match. Reigns didn't do shit except those 5 moves and dooms of his. Oh, and do you think Nastista isn't ready for the top spot? I kind of already answered this with the Brock Lesnar question, with him getting more dates. And I thought I already talked about this in the last newscast too, that I think that Orton carried that match tremendously. I think Orton... A lot of people give Orton a lot of crap on certain things, and a lot of it I can agree with. But one thing that never gets credited for him on his behalf is that he's a really great worker. When he really is on, when he's really putting on his working boots, he really gets the best out of a lot of people. Go look at his... Orton is the type of... Randy Orton reminds me of an old school wrestler. He's the type of wrestler that the NWA/WCW or World Class Championship Wrestling down in Texas back in the days would have loved to have, because he wrestles an old school style of in-ring work. and he puts it with a modern twist, obviously today. But he's a great old school worker now, and especially now that he's a heel as well. So Orton's a great worker, in my opinion. He's probably one of the top 10, maybe top 5 even. And now that Del Rio's gone, so now, and Orton did carry that match. I said at the SummerSlam review, he did carry that match, and I said that match would be the moment, the defining moment, if you can tell that if Reigns was truly ready for that spot. And I said, in my opinion, that it didn't. I think right now, at this current time, that Roman Reigns is not ready for this push. He's not ready for this spot. He's not ready to be the guy. He's not ready to take the mantle from John Cena, and he's not ready to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Now, WrestleMania 31 is, I believe, 6 to 9 months away, approximately. So, that's a lot of time. Anything can change. Roman Reigns could be at WrestleMania 31 to the point where we're saying, yeah, he's ready. Like, Roman Reigns has improved a lot in all assets. He's ready to beat Brock Lesnar for the title. We may be saying that by WrestleMania 31 time. So who knows? But I'm talking about currently. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about right as we see it with Roman Reigns. And I feel like this current incarnation of Roman Reigns is not ready for that spot. He's not ready to beat Brock Lesnar. He's not ready to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He's not ready to be the top guy. And I even feel like his former Shield members, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, have the potential to leapfrog him. It's kind of like the whole John Cena, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan dichotomy. The WWE machine has their top guy they want to push. Obviously, it's Roman Reigns, like it was with John Cena. Then you have this sort of cult character here that a lot of people recognize, but that the WWE machine doesn't really want to push unless they have to, unless they have no choice but to, in Dean Ambrose, like they did with CM Punk. And then you have this character here, the same thing with Dean Ambrose and CM Punk, but it's put in a position where he probably shouldn't be in. But once you break him off from that, you give him time to develop and rise him up organically to where he can really be the top guy in Seth Rollins, like you guys did with Daniel Bryan. So that's kind of how I see it. Roman Reigns is going to be the WWE's machine in terms of the top guy. I just don't think he's ready. And I think it's going to backfire if they keep forcing him. And it's not even a push, really. It's a force. If they keep forcing Roman Reigns, the current incarnation of Roman Reigns, down our throats, it's going to backfire. Yes, strike while the iron is hot, and you did that with Brock Lesnar when he came in and he won the title 5 months into the company, but Brock Lesnar was a different type of character. He was a different type of wrestler. He's the type of natural athletic freak that you don't get in wrestling these days. Roman Reigns is not Brock Lesnar, in my opinion. So the WWE has to be very careful how they really present Roman Reigns at this point heading into WrestleMania 31 next year. But yes, I don't agree with Roman Reigns right now being ready. I think he isn't ready. Just my opinion. Yeah, that's pretty much how I see it. Again, like I said, I could be wrong, but you know. And Hugo Goncalves will close this Q&A session with this question: How did you like ACW High Voltage? I thought it was good. I gotta be honest with you, it was kind of difficult though. The ending to High Voltage was kind of tiresome in a way to kind of structure that ending. But other than that, I had fun with High Voltage. I know where I like where I'm going with certain storylines and certain characters. You know, there's always a purpose to everything that I do. A lot of people don't understand this yet, but there is always a purpose to everything that I do. So when someone says, man, all these heels are champions or whatever, you know, or, you know, why is Zuko the champion here, or is Sasuke really going to break off from Gamma or whatever, I always have a purpose. Like, I know I was born in 1991, I'm 23 years old, but I still like the old school mentality that wrestling used to have. That is kind of missing in wrestling today. and I'm trying to implement that with ACW. In terms of in-ring psychology, in terms of storyline advancement, storyline development, plot twists and devices, character development, storytelling, I try to implement that with ACW. Because in my opinion, there are a lot of colleagues out there today that don't really implement that kind of stuff into their league. And I'm sure some will say that about me as well. That's fine. But in my opinion, I don't think that a lot of colleagues out there today really implement in-ring storytelling or character development that makes sense in the future that it did back then, or plot devices that actually have a purpose, or characters that do have a purpose. So there's always a purpose for everything with me, for the most part. So just always keep that in mind. But overall, I did enjoy High Voltage. So there you go, guys. Those are your Q&As. Those are your questions and comments and answers. The Q&A session is closed for today. Thank you all for joining me for this today. As always, if you want to post a comment or ask me a question and you want me to answer that on a newscast, make sure you post your questions and comments down below this video if you're watching on YouTube or wherever video stream site you may be watching this. Or you can, if you have Facebook and follow us, you can send me your questions and comments on our status when we ask for newscast questions on Facebook. So you guys can do either one of those things, and we will always answer those questions for you guys to the best of our knowledge and abilities. So sorry if I didn't get to some of your questions as well, but kind of running out of time here. So yeah, there you have it there. I'm also going to start, in a way, I think next week, maybe giving you guys my thoughts on certain anime shows that I'm watching right now. If you guys follow me on Facebook, I kind of do that already, but I want to probably do that for the newscast as well. Because the current animes that I'm watching right now are Sailor Moon Crystal, even though their 2-week schedule is starting to become very, very, very repetitive and tedious. I watch Sword Art Online 2, I watch Tokyo Ghoul, I watch Akame ga Kill, I watch Zankyou no Terra. In my opinion, I think Tokyo Ghoul, in my opinion, is the anime of the year, in my opinion. Now, I know all these Sword Art Online fanboys will say, but we got Sinone, and Kirito's actually a badass, and there's really no Asuna, and there's really no fairy tale arc, and all that BS. That's good and everything. The second season is way better than the first season, and yes, the fairy arc is included in the first season, so unfortunately, that makes it not better than this current season. Sorry, fairy arc sucked. But even then, it's getting to the point where Tokyo Ghoul and Akame ga Kill are kicking Sword Art Online 2's ass every week, in my opinion. Especially Tokyo Ghoul. Their protagonists are better, in my opinion. The actions... The one thing that Sword Art Online had was the action scenes, and even then, Akame ga Kill and Tokyo Ghoul's action scenes are starting to kick their ass on that regard as well. So, I'll get into more of that next week, so I'm running out of time here. Thank you guys for joining us for the ACW Newscast. We'll see you guys next week with more new episodes of Excel and Impulse and a new episode of the newscast, obviously, and some maybe more content. And that's another thing I forgot to... Shit, I'm running out of time here. That's another thing I forgot to address as well. We will be uploading old school classic ACW content on the YouTube channel starting next week. So if you see random uploads on certain random shows, that's why. So, and we'll get more into that next week. All right, gotta go.